Alrighty. Usually, you guys, I'm like a one and done in terms of the podcast. Like, whatever happens, happens, and that's what you get. But apparently, it's taking me a little longer today, which is okay. Which you would have never known if I had not told you. But just so you're aware, this is like take 3. First, forgot to have my YouTube camera recorder thingy, my phone recording the first time, and the second time I wasn't sure I had the right mic. It's an adventure today. Also, if you hear random popping and cracking in the background, my neighbors have been doing fireworks since last night. Well, not since last night, but they did them last night. They're doing them tonight. They just barely started, of course, and they will probably be doing them tomorrow night as well. But just in case you hear random popping, that's what that is. Today, this morning, whenever it is that you're listening to this, it's going to be a short one, you guys. There's a lot of scripture here. There's 6 chapters of scripture that we're covering in this section. And I'm literally going to talk about like 3 verses. And it's probably the 3 verses that you are thinking of as well. Like I said, there's a lot of really good stuff. One thing really stuck out to me is kind of like the main takeaway. And so that's kind of what I wanted to share with you today. And that is in 2 Kings chapter 6, verses 15 through 17. And again, I don't typically, but I'm going to give you a little context just because it's covering so much stuff. This is essentially when Elisha, 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 who is like the Padawan of Elijah. Probably Padawan is not the right word, but you know what I mean. And they're facing up with this army, and there's this guy, and he's like, bro, we're all going to die. And this is the scripture that I love. This is verse 16. For they that be with us are more than they that be with them. And the next scripture, he says a prayer to open the eyes of the people with him that they may see, right? And then they're able to see all of the help from beyond the veil on the other side. And this is something I want to carry with me, and I hope that you carry with you, is that I think it's very easy for us to feel alone in this world, in our beliefs. It's not popular to follow Christ anymore. It's not popular to stand for what you believe in anymore, unless, you believe exactly what everybody else believes, which for a little while we had some of that, but it feels like, the older we get, and I don't know if it's we just notice it more, or if, I feel like it really is actually there are less and less people willing to follow the teachings of Christ. And there are more of us that just kind of have to stand and say, no, this is what I believe. Anyway, it's really easy for us to feel alone in those moments. It's really easy for us to feel like we're the only ones, especially for me. I feel like in my Instagram feed, I have a lot of people that I follow that either used to be LDS, or still say that they are LDS, but then I see them living in ways that don't coincide with that. And I don't mean this like in a term of judgment, but I'm just seeing you can't sit on the fence anymore. You have to make a choice, and you have to stand firm in that choice. And I see a lot of kind of like fence sitters, I guess. And again, I don't mean that with judgment. Like, I feel like everybody's on their own journey. They're all going to figure it out when they figure it out. But it's just an interesting thing to see. It's easy to feel alone in trying to keep your covenants and trying to follow the commandments. It's really easy if you just look on social media to feel like you're the only one who's doing that. And so just with this in mind, that they that be with us are more than they that be with them, that we have a whole slew of people from beyond the veil, people that have already passed, and I think even the spirits that are yet to come, that cheer us on and help hold us up when we are feeling really low. I always think of that moment in Harry Potter. I know we're talking about Harry Potter. It's okay. I always think of that moment in Harry Potter. It's the 5th book, when he's hanging out with the Thestrals, which are the big scary horse things, right? And in the movie, this is how it happens. I'm trying to remember how it happens in the book. I feel like it happens pretty similarly. But anyway, so they're hanging out with the Thestrals, and Harry is just complaining about how alone he feels, how nobody believes him, how it's just, and Luna, because Luna says that, hey, my dad and I, we believe you. And he's like, yeah, well, it seems like you're the only ones. And she's like, I don't think that's true. I think that's just what he wants you to think. Because if you feel alone, you're not as much of a threat. And so I think that Satan works in that same way. He helps us feel alone, if that makes sense. Like, he encourages us to feel alone. He encourages that narrative that you're it. There is no other righteous person out there. Why are you even bothering anymore? What's even the point? Blah, 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 blah. And I think that that's not true, obviously, but it's just a trick. So they that be with us are greater than they that be with them. And I leave you with that, and I will talk to you next week.